Hello everyone, I'm Rick Hahn with Innovia. I'd like to spend a few minutes and look at how we can save a new assembly in the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. We'll start out in SolidWorks with an assembly that we have here. If we look out on the disk, this assembly has already been saved. We've saved it into a My Work and a subfolder called Machine ZZ. So it's sitting in a local directory right here on the hard drive at this point. But it's not known to the platform. We can see that over here to the right by in the My Session view, which is a live connection to the platform. We can see that if we mouse over any of the statuses, that it says the file is not currently saved to the platform, so none of these components are saved. Now, this is a very small assembly, and a lot of occasions you might be working in a very large assembly. Generally, the practice that we recommend customers work with is, as you're working with assemblies, is you don't build the entire assembly locally. Because for a couple of reasons. First off, when you save it, you have to save all that information at once up to the platform, and I don't know where you are relative to that server. It could be on the other side of the planet for all we know. And obviously it extends time, and you know, bandwidth could be issues. It's better to incrementally save, and generally save bottom up as you go along through a design. Another issue, of course, is if I'm working with a design locally, the rest of my team, who I may be working with in my office here or in various places around the world, cannot see the information, and we can't collaborate at the same time and build out a design. Maybe I only want to work on one of these two components, and I've got another engineer that would like to work on the other. Well, once I save the entire structure once, then he can work on that component, and I can continue work on the other, and we can collaborate and roll the design up together. Now, initially, so let's assume that I do want to just roll, you know, a piecemeal. I can always do that. If I attempt to save from the command line, the system will try to save the entire structure. Now in this case, that's fine if I want to do that, but let's assume I just want to save one of the two components. If I choose save at this level, I get the option of only saving that one component, so let's do that. So the system creates a record up on the database, and then it uploads from a copy of the local file sitting here to the database. And now there's a record of it that exists up there, and the rest of my team that is in the same collaborative space I'm in can now access that part and work on it themselves if I so allow. We'll talk about that next here. Now you can see as it's saved, the system says, okay, it says the file is not modified. I just saved it. I haven't made any more changes to it because the system's now looking at it in real time. And next to that, it says it's not reserved. Now this is an important fact, and it also says it's at Rev A. But the fact that it's not reserved is important, and I can see that immediately. Let's just say I've just saved that one part, which happens to be this arm out here. And let's just say I just decide I want to edit it. You know, I've saved it. I'm just going to go continue working on it. So I try to edit the part. And I get this message. It says, you know, that the part is read-only and I must obtain access to modify it. And the reason that is because once I've saved it to the platform, the assumption is that I need to know who is working on it, because as I said, multiple people now have access to this part. So I need to reserve it and take control of the part, since more than one of us can access it. So I do that here by simply right-clicking the line and reserving the component. Now once I reserve this component, you'll see a key appear here, and it says it's reserved, and reserved by me. And that's important, because if I hadn't reserved it and someone else around the world was looking at this assembly and he clicked and reserved it, it'd say reserved by Joe or whoever it is out there that has it. And I can recognize in real time who's working on the structure that I've got open in session. Okay? So once I've done that, if I were to try again to attempt to edit this component, the system now lets me open it into an edit session and make changes. Okay? Now, as I'm working, I may want to save the entire assembly. Even though I've got a subcomponent here, I can do a save at the top level, and the system will look at the structure I have and immediately identifies that there are two of the three components that need to be saved in this structure. This is important because this is a very small assembly, but if I had a large assembly with 100, 1,000 parts open in session, and I edit one part, but I'm working in the context of the entire assembly, each subsequent save operation saves it locally and saves it to the server, but only saves the changes in that assembly. So I have a super tanker open here in SolidWorks, and I save the bridge, the steering wheel and the bridge. It's a real fast transaction because the system recognizes that all the other components are not changed and they will not be affected on the server. So if we do a save at this level, we'll see the effect. Now, once again, it's uploading the assembly, the individual parts, and it's locking the local parts as read-only because now my whole team has access. So once again, if I want to make changes or take control of the entire assembly, I can select those components that I'd want to reserve. In this case, I'll select all the components and just take full control. And the result of this is other users can utilize the assembly. They can stick it into their assembly and continue working on maybe a higher assembly, but no one else can change it but me. And all of them see those keys out there that indicates to them that who's working on it. It'll say, you know, reserved by Rick. So kind of keeps everything organized, and we continue with the project moving forward. Hope this was interesting. I just want to share a little information on the SolidWorks assembly process. Thank you for your time.